You ever watch a video that just makes you feel nostalgic? It feels like you transport back in time. That's what happened to me today. It felt like Jimmy Neutron had built a time travel device that took me back to the most embarrassing era of my life. My first year and a half of college. This was the real goofy goober era of my life where I tried to emulate a mysterious anime character and was just genuinely creepy and uncomfortable to be around. I have no doubt my fellow peers were reporting me to the student body as just someone to be aware of as a potential threat. It was scary. Like, it was such a bad idea. I was built on awful Reddit advice and delusion of anime characters. I thought it'd be a good idea. I've talked about it at length before. And today I watched a video that served as a reminder of my shame. And this had to do with the couple of times I went to parties, which I've talked about a little bit. During this period, I did try and socialize to the best of my ability, and I'd argue I was the life of parties when I went out. And by that I mean I made people scared for their lives when I went out to parties. Let me show you a little clip of the video and then dive deep into what I mean. Yeah, so this lady's really busting it wide open on the dance floor here of this local dive bar. She's just going hog wild. I don't know if it's drug related or just the spirit of music has taken over, but she is transformed into the demon of dance. Her eyes are like glossed over, and thanks to the camera, they're like glow in the dark, so it's really intense. And she's throwing out all kinds of advanced maneuvers right there. That's like a million dance moves in 10 seconds. It's like she's trying to go for a high score combo in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 here. But what it reminded me of is how I used to act at like bars and parties back in the early college days, because there was a couple bars near our campus that didn't ID check, so we would go there and I'd try and do shit like this because I thought by trying to be the center of attention, it would be good in helping me get laid. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But I'd go fucking wild. I'd start popping and locking. It was like I was doing Wing Chun on invisible enemies. Because I didn't really know how to dance super well, but I kept trying. I'd hit like sloppy body waves and shit. And I made a video a while ago talking about how I tried to learn to breakdance to impress girls. So, I'd drop to the floor and hit them with like the 6-step shuffle or whatever. And of course, you know me, I'm famous for the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse dance hot dog. But I'd drop to the floor and just like get after it. Like this. Give them some of that shit. It's just, yep. A little out of breath already. It's been a while since I busted that bad boy out. But yeah, I'd just fucking serve it out on the dance floor there. And no one stopped me. Like my friends that I'd go with, and they never told me it was a bad idea. Because I think they just liked laughing at it. So I spent like an hour doing this shit on the dance floor looking like I was on bath salts. And I never learned my lesson. So when I saw this video today, seeing her go after it like this, I was like, damn, it's like looking in a mirror 8 years ago. Watching her dance is like watching a dog with the zoomies, where they just start like running in circles and going crazy. I mean, hats off to her. Like the confidence to do this and really just go wild at it, I think is fantastic. I always enjoyed doing it back in college, even though I know it made me look very odd to most people, but I still did find it to be enjoyable at the very least. But goddamn, the people next to her are gonna be leaving this bar with scars. The way she's whipping her hair like that shit is an actual weapon. That's some like actual Bayonetta shit, using her hair for offensive attacks. This right here is my favorite moment in the routine. I definitely think this would win, so you think you can dance. She hits him with like the praying mantis up here, and then into like a T-Rex arm combo. It's very rare you see a move like that executed so fluidly. So I thought she did a wonderful job there, and I really think it just helped put a nice bow on the entire choreography here. Unfortunately, that's where the video ends, but I'm sure the dancing continued for a couple hours there. She was definitely just getting started. This was only Act 1 of the performance. I think it's great all around. It seemed like she was having a good time. The people around her also seemed to enjoy the show. And I just wanted to talk about it because it reminded me of a silly time during my college days that I thought would be fun to share. That's really about it. I still think I'm one of the best dancers on the East Coast. And yeah, so yeah. When you look at me, the first thing you probably think to yourself is, man, this guy likes to party. This looks like a guy who's not only super tall, but also breathes life into any hootenanny that he attends. And you'd be right to a certain extent. I used to enjoy the old shindig back in college. I'd go out pretty often. And I saw a video today that reminded me of an extremely sad and embarrassing tale that I haven't thought of in a long time. So I'd like to show you the video that brought about this Winter Soldier episode within me, and then go over the video as well as this story that I'd like to tell.
Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow. You didn't even come close.
That's where the video ends, but I imagine he ran down the stairs, ran behind the house, started crying, and then just buried himself. Just fucking died there. It was so sad to see a man super excited to be getting tossed a beer. The local frat dudes were like, hey, this guy needs a fucking brewski. So they, fucking Amazon primed one. Now, it wasn't a great throw. That was definitely not a Joe Burrow caliber toss. And it nearly killed the guy. Fucking sent him over the rails for it. Because that guy was thirsty, right? And the only thing that quenched that thirst was butt chugging a Miller Lite across the street. So yeah, dude went ass over face, falling off the balcony, then hitting the deck and flopping like a fish down below. I'm gonna go ahead and toss this instant replay up on the Jumbotron, because I'm pretty sure this man exploded midair, like Mr. Potato Head. Just bits and pieces flying all over the place. His hat just got blasted off. I'm pretty sure he lost both of his shoes there. The G-forces damn near tore his clothes off as well. He was almost butt-ass naked by the time he hit the ground. Like, I don't know what went wrong, but there's just like so many clothing items that get lost on the small fall. But anyway, this brought out a repressed memory deep within me. It's something I haven't thought about in a while, and it made me very yucky feeling. I just cringed and thought it'd be something worth sharing with all of you before I once again locked that away forever, never to think about it again. This happened back in college before I retired from partying. I now no longer believe in fun at social gatherings, I guess. I just don't really party or anything anymore. And it was one of the first parties I had went to after getting to college. And I didn't really know anyone, of course, and I had already established myself as the weird, mysterious anime character, so I'm sure people had recognized me as a fucking psychopath before going to this party. So the fact that I showed up there probably already made people uncomfortable. I would have been in my sophomore year here, I imagine. I can't quite remember, but it was one of the first parties I went to, and that was like the only time I started going out. So I'm at this party, it's a house party, and there's a pool. They have a keg, they even have like a live band performing inside. It was just some like butt rock band that I'm assuming the members were students at the school. It was going all out, and as the night continued, I didn't really interact with many people, pretty much anyone aside from Andrew, who I went with. And, it wasn't getting a whole lot done, it wasn't drinking that much or anything, but towards the end of the night, as people started getting a bit sloppy, they started doing beer-catching trick shots. And it was cool. And I, at this point, thought, this is my chance. This is my time to shine. I can stand out and make friends by being the guy that makes a cool beer catch. Even though I'd never, caught a fucking Mach 5 thrown beer, because they were going hard. They're doing behind the back tosses, behind the back catches, and just fucking throwing that shit as hard as they possibly can and seeing if someone can catch it. And I was like, this is it. This is how I finally make a name for myself here. And one of the tricks that they did that I thought would be, my time to hop in is they were doing it over the pool. So they were doing cool between the leg tosses over the pool, and someone would go in, do a 360 and catch it before hitting the water. Then they'd come out, pop it open, and chug it like Stone Cold. They didn't shotgun it, so kind of pussy shit, if I do say so myself now. Hindsight's 20/20. But anyway, I thought, this is it. I know I can front flip into this pool. I knew I could do it, and I thought it'd be the coolest thing those eyes had ever seen. I thought everyone would be like uproariously cheering me, going wild, like, holy fuck, this dude just front flipped into the pool and caught a beer. I was running through this fantasy in my head. I was like, yep, this is how I do it. I'm gonna be the coolest fucking dude on campus. So I teed up at the end of the pool, you know, I'm queuing up, I'm ready. Everyone's still around the pool, cheering on cool catches, booing misses, and I knew that this was my time to shine. No one's paid any attention to me up until this point. No one is looking at me on the end of the pool there. So in order to get their attention, I start like clapping, you know, like, hey, I'm ready. Toss me the pigskin. Give me the rock. I'm ready. Feed me. So I'm clapping, trying to get like their attention. The dudes that are tossing the beers, like setting up the trick shots. And then eventually one of them does look at me. And without a second thought, the second we lock eyes, I just do a front flip into the pool. Barely, mind you. And I have my arms straight up and I don't finish the whole rotation. So I end up on my ass with my hands up in the air and no one throws a beer. So I just fucking shittily front flip into the pool. It looks like I'm probably drowning, like a ship going down as the sail slowly keeps sinking because my arms are above the water. I've already failed my front flip, so now I'm just sinking in shame. I pop up, there's no beer, and no one's even looking at me. I don't even get a boo. Nobody cared at all. It was the saddest fucking moment of my life. Like, if someone had just given me, like, a pity, woohoo, or like, aw, something, I would have been like, okay, not all is lost. But I got literally nothing. Straight up crickets. And then some other dude did a trick shot into the pool, and they loved that. Meanwhile, the fucking socially inept turbo virgin on the other side gets fucking nothing. And I don't remember exactly what happened next, but I can't imagine we stayed much longer. Because I do remember getting into the taxi soaking wet. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to air dry. I imagine what happened is Andrew felt my pain and was like, Charlie, let's get the fuck out. But I guess I just blacked out from cringe at that point because I can't complete the story. I just remember that, and man, it was sad. So yeah, this video really brought that demon back, brought that evil out of me, and I just wanted to share it with all of you because, you know, I don't want to think about it again past this point. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. It's been a little while since the last time I sat you down at the fireplace with my bathrobe slightly ajar to tell you an embarrassing story from the period in my life where I've LARPed as a fucking mysterious anime character. This was around the time I was like 18, 19 years old, so like freshman, early sophomore year of college, and I've told many a pathetic story from this sad compendium of miserable social ineptitude, and there's one I haven't shared with you that I thought I'd share today. This was actually the first date I ever went on, like first official date. I'll just give you a brief lore update for those that haven't seen any of the other videos. Back in early college years, I thought it'd be great to reinvent myself as a mysterious anime character in real life. It worked for the anime characters. Girls were always trying to constantly like gobble on their meat. And so I thought, well, if it worked for them, it could work for me. So I wanted to be like super unique. I wanted to wear a chain with my favorite video game disc on it, Psychonauts. So just be like a fucking chain with Psychonauts on it. I also refused to talk to people. So if people talked to me or asked me questions, I'd respond with like moans and grunts instead of words. And it was really goofy shit. Like talking to me would be like talking to an NPC in Banjo-Kazooie where they just respond with that's how I would pretty much respond to shit, or just complete silence. I have no doubt a lot of people on campus probably reported me to authorities as a potential threat to the university in those early year and a half, however long I spent doing that. But I eventually grew out of it. But during this time, I actually did get a date. My first real official date. Now, while this was my first date, it wasn't like I was a completely kissless virgin. I was a virgin who had been kissed once. It was a dare. A girl was once dared to kiss me because that was seen as such a punishment that in a truth or dare game, they made it a dare to kiss me. And I was like, fuck yeah, this is my time to shine. Probably pre-came and shit my pants at the same time. But anyway, I managed to get this date because a friend of mine from high school actually invited me to a party. We hadn't seen each other in quite some time, and they invited me out to go drink with them. At the time, I was completely straight edge. I didn't want to touch drugs. I didn't want to touch beer. I also wasn't even sure I ever wanted to lose my virginity. I was starting to think it might even be best if I didn't. But they invited me to this party, and I was still in this mysterious anime phase, and he invited me to play beer pong with him, and I was like, well, as long as I don't drink. And he's like, fuck it, Charlie, I'll just drink for you. Just fucking play with me. And I was like, sure, let's go. So we were playing, and then eventually his friends called him to do like a keg stand or something, so I needed a partner, and a girl hopped in to play with me. And I didn't say a fucking word to her. And I guess that must have been cool enough because she started talking to me, and then I eventually like mumbled out like, do you want to go to the beach? And she said yes. She gave me her number, and we set up a beach date for the next day. And my God, I don't even think I slept that night. I remember that night after the party, I went back to the dorm, and I was just busting out hundreds of crunches and like bicycle crunches and shit, trying to sculpt out my abs speedrun style. I didn't eat. I only drank a ton of water, just trying desperately to get my six-pack to pop out a bit more. I was a lot leaner back then because all I focused on was being like ripped, but my arms were super skinny, so I just kind of looked like an actual poorly drawn anime character physique-wise. Nowadays, I'm just actually fucking jacked, but back then I was like, all I need is abs, and girls will want to fuck me real good. So I'm in my dorm for hours just fucking doing an impromptu P90X routine till the sun comes up, and I text her, she doesn't respond, I start to panic, I texted her again, still didn't respond. I'm fucking freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, I've ruined it. I fucking blew it. Holy shit, it's all over. She hates me. She probably reported me to the police because I was creepy. Oh my fucking God. I text her again. I fucking triple texted her. Literally the worst possible thing you could do. She finally responds just saying she was sleeping, and then I realized that that's probably about par for the course because it was like 9 a.m. I was like, it's fucking like Saturday, and I'm texting her at 9 a.m. like 1,000 times. It stands to reason that she might just be sleeping in. Fucking having a manic episode in the text messages there at 9 a.m. and then she still agrees to meet with me. She's like, yeah, we're still down for the beach, let's go. So we meet at my car. I play my boner jams, which was a real risk for me because the music I listened to then and the music I still listen to now isn't really popular. It's mainly like metal and shit like that. And luckily she likes that music. In fact, she even knew some of the bands like Cybreed. She likes Cybreed, which is still my favorite band right now. So that was cool, but I'd never done small talk or anything. So I didn't know how that was supposed to go, and I think she was picking up on that, so she took the initiative to talk to me. So she asked me, hey, did you have fun at the party last night? I said, nope. Which is a great response because, I mean, that's super cool. Like, hey, this guy is so goddamn badass, he didn't have any fun last night. But I do remember saying the only cool thing about the party was meeting you. I was like, that's kind of suave. So I hit her with that bit of smooth ass cheeks right there. To which she didn't really say anything. At least I don't remember her saying anything. Maybe she had just gotten completely sodden panties and, that's probably what happened. But she continues, standard stuff. What's your major? At the time it was digital arts. This was before I switched. Do you like digital arts? It sounds cool. What is that? And I was like, I fucking hate it. It's just making 3D animations. It sucks. So I'm just constantly doing my best to ruin any kind of positivity. That whole car ride was basically like condensed pessimism on wheels. And so she just keeps asking me these questions to which I'm giving like the worst responses to imaginable, convinced like the anime characters I've seen before that being different or being negative is cool to women, which it's definitely not. But she eventually gets to the dagger. What do you do? Like, she probably assumed I had like a job or something because she did. So she's like, well, what do you do for work? What do you do? And I was like, can't get into that. It's a secret. Which obviously piqued her interest because, like, what the fuck does that mean? Am I like a CIA spy? Am I a hitman? Assassin? Like, what the fuck is that? She's like, well, what do you mean it's a secret? It's like, I just can't get into that. I can't talk about it. So she keeps poking the sleeping bear. She's like, well, what do you mean? What do you do? Like, it's kind of weird. Like, what do you do? And eventually I'm like, I make videos on the internet. Keep in mind, this is 2013. The idea of being a YouTuber was a foreign concept back then. I'd also never told anyone about this. I never said out loud that I made videos online. I always kept that like my biggest top secret. I never ever talked about it, but in this instance, I was fucking desperate. I was pulling out all the stops. I was emptying my pockets of all the possible fucking spaghetti I could fill on the floor, vomiting anything that might help my chances of getting me laid. I would have told her I was Santa Claus if I thought it would help my chances of getting my cock wet. I was just going all out, Just this once, just trying. So I told her I make videos on the internet, and she laughed at me, which just felt phenomenal. She thought I was just kidding because I had hyped it up so much to that grand, wet fart of a reveal. She was probably just relieved more than anything, because she probably thought I was a psychopath with the way I was answering, but I dropped that nugget of truth on her, and at the time, like I said, this wasn't really anything anyone talked about. Like, YouTuber wasn't a thing back then. Most of the most popular shit was like Facebook pages that people knew, and when it came to YouTubers, most people only knew like the biggest ones. The big one back then that I remember most people talking about was Epic Mealtime, and I also remember even things like I'm Schmacked were kind of big back then, but other than that, there wasn't a ton else that college students would think of when they hear of internet content creator YouTuber. So she didn't really find that all that impressive, and I've never treated it like a job or anything, but I just thought it was going to be a good answer to that question, one that she probably hadn't heard before, and she probably never did hear it before because she just straight laughed at it, which didn't make me feel like my chances were being helped. She thought that I was just making like a joke out of it because I just made it like this hyped up thing, like, no, it's a big secret. It's a fucking government secret. I'm not allowed to say it. If I say it, the government's gonna come fucking kill me. And then I just reveal like I make fucking gameplay and commentary videos on YouTube. So she giggled at that, and then she asked what the channel was, so I showed it to her when we parked. I brought up the channel, and at the time, the channel video that would autoplay was my titty simulator game, which of course was a kind of weird look, so I bring that up. At the time I had like 800,000 subscribers, which is a fucking ton, and she was impressed by the number, but the content itself I don't think she was too fond of, because it was titty simulator, with me talking about fucking honkin' milkers being dragged around by their nipple, and then some of the other related ones were other weird games like don't shit your pants and things. So she didn't really want to stay on the channel that long, but she said congratulations to me, and I was like, well, okay, it didn't really work very well, now did it? So we finally arrive at the beach. Confidence is shot. I can tell that this mysterious anime character facade's not doing me any favors. So we end up just going to like a pretty crowded area on the beach at Clearwater, and just laying down, and she played music with her earbuds in, and I just kind of laid there, you know, pretending like this was productive, like, yeah, I'd always wanted a tan, I'll just fucking lay here with my ass cheeks hanging out, I guess, why not? And just fucking sit there doing nothing while she's listening to music at the beach. At the end of it, I just kind of felt like I was an Uber driver who stayed a little too long. Like, she requested a ride, but then I had nothing else to do, so I also just went to the same destination. So we just kind of stayed there for like an hour, and then she's like, alright, I'm ready to head back, I'm kind of hungry. I didn't even bother asking if she wanted to get food with me, because I could already just pick up on the vibe here that it wasn't really going anywhere. So we go back, and then she hugged me, and I was like, fuck, it was all worth it, I got a hug, let's go! Woo! So I got a hug out of it, which means I was a champion that day, but we never talked again, surprisingly. And that's how my first date went. So overall, pretty successful. Got off to a great start, really, in the whole romance world. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. I also think it's a pretty interesting look at how things have changed recently, because back then, YouTuber wasn't even a word in anyone's vernacular. No one had ever really like heard of that before. It wasn't really an explored concept, just kind of like this emerging hobby that some people would pick up on. But nowadays, I think it's like 60% of kids want to grow up to be like a YouTuber or internet creator, which is wild. So in less than a decade, it has completely changed. But back then, yeah, that shit was not looked at too positively. But anyway, I just wanted to share this story because I haven't done this one before, and I thought it was worth sharing. That's about it. See ya. I've told a lot of really embarrassing stories from my past. I'm not shy about it. I'm not afraid to spread my cheeks and let you all get deep in there into some really pathetic and shameful moments of my life. However, there's one moment, and it's really recent too, that has been so shameful I've debated making it public, because this is something I've talked about. I did something that I absolutely hate, but I did it for the sake of science. Not that that washes away the sin, and you'll see what I mean. It's TikTok. I've been shitting on TikTok for an extremely long time, before it was even born, back when it was still Musical.ly. I'm like the fucking T-1000 Terminator going back in time to kill John Connor before he was born. I did that with Musical.ly. I tried to fucking kill Musical.ly before it evolved into this even more deplorable platform called TikTok. And one thing I always make clear is that I think becoming famous on TikTok is the easiest shit in the world if you follow the main trends. And I still believe that, but when doing this experiment, my experiment was I was going to make a persona on TikTok and pursue the TikTok clout, climb my way to the top of the swamp, overthrow the greats like Charlie D'Amelio, so then I'd cement my place in next year's Super Bowl halftime performance, shaking my hairy ass right alongside Jennifer Lopez, all by just following and exactly copying what they do, what's popular on TikTok. But the problem was, it was too shameful and I fucking quit. I wasn't going to even share this story just because I didn't complete it and it's just so goddamn embarrassing. But another YouTuber did the exact same experiment I did, but did it much better. This is from Scott. He was more successful at it and he had a much better approach and committed harder than I did, so props to him for that. He chose much easier things to emulate. He chose, the shit that's relatable, where you choose names at random and then people that have those names like your shit and it goes viral that way. I chose to directly copy Charlie D'Amelio, who's a dancer on TikTok that posts anywhere from 10 to 25 videos per day. Anytime she would do a dance, I would copy it exactly to the best of my ability, and my ability sucked some fat fucking asshole. My dogs probably could have done more impressive dance moves than I was able to muster. The only experience I have with dancing is in my high school years, where I used to try and learn to breakdance and use it to impress girls, but it didn't work because I was so shitty at it. I just looked like a psychopath or some loose cannon that was missing his medication. So my dancing fucking sucked. It didn't take off for obvious reasons. But anyway, let me show you my TikTok. This is a tough pill to swallow, but yes, this is me, without any semblance of pride or shame. I came up with my alter ego Shade. I thought It's Shade here would be a hit with the younger demographic because the name is fucking raw, it's fucking dope. That shit just sounds lit for young people to say. Plus, I also created a little mystery. I covered my face for the most part. I had a little beanie on, and I had that, bandana across my face. I thought the mystery would be great. Like the masked magician, who's doing all these crazy tricks? Or Buckethead, the guitarist, who's shredding the guitar like a motherfucking angel? I thought that would be me on TikTok. And I think it could have been if I had chose something easier to emulate and, didn't feel any semblance of remorse from doing this awful, awful, awful garbage. Now, I did this in mid-December of 2019, and my New Year's resolution for 2020 was just to give the fuck up on this experiment because it's so embarrassing. So I haven't done it in a long time now, and I only did it for maybe a week-ish. But anyway, hope you got a box of tissues out. You're going to need those bad boys. Let's check out my first TikTok here from Shade.
It's really you.
Pretty good content, I would say. I did not freestyle that. That was directly ripped from how Charlie D'Amelio did it at the time. I even tried to emulate the same way they talk on TikTok, so I had a little caption, "There's so much more than meets the eye." Who doesn't like Transformers, right? You know what I fucking mean? That's some pseudo-intellectual deep shit for a 13-year-old that goes on Reddit sometimes. I thought maybe they'd read that and be like, wow, you're right, maybe there is a lot more under that mask. Who is that? Could that be the legendary Dave Grohl? So anyway, I also used the hashtag #SoMisunderstood because it was popular at the time. It got 400 views, and I, doing absolutely nothing but copying. So really, the first dipping of my wiener tip here into the TikTok cesspool was pretty successful, I would say. It wasn't bad, it could have been better. I also did black and white for all of the videos to try and carve out my own little aesthetic for Shade, which I don't think did it any favors. I don't think people like anything at all that goes against the grain, so that was probably just a bit of a misstep on my part to make Shade a little more unique.
I just wanna bop that beat, hop up in the Jeep, put a little bitch and drive, fuck my 9 to 5, disappear for weeks.
Yeah, those are the moves that'll make you want to kiss your mother just to thank her for giving birth to you so you could exist in a time period where I'm able to bust some ass like that. Yeah, for sure. Also, I should go ahead and say this. I apologize to all 20 of the Shade fans. I've played you like a fiddle. You had no idea you were simply numbers in a scientific experiment from a mastermind. Ha. You fools. Shade was made up all along. It was me. Fuck. It's so goddamn embarrassing. Even just going through this TikTok here is sad. The amount of times I've debated with myself to delete it, but then I'm like, no, Charlie, you should come back to this at some point. Shade needs to write again. And then, the angel on my shoulder is like, no, Charlie, don't listen to the devil. You really don't want Shade to write again. Nobody does. I mean, fucking Shade is like one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. If Shade's out here making TikToks, something has gone awry in the world.
I love you and I wish I never did. I swear to God, you stupid bitch.
Copywritten in all my decisions. This is not supposed to be where I live. Turn myself down into a prison. You're the only one I want by my side when I fall asleep.
I still bear the scars from the Shade experiment. Like Scott in his video, each TikTok only took a matter of 30 seconds to a minute to make. It wasn't a whole lot of effort, and it wasn't a total failure given how many I made and how much I put into it. I can chalk up the lack of explosion and the reason why Shade wasn't number 1. I can chalk it up to 3 key components. Number 1, I chose something that I suck asshole at, dancing. I chose an area that I have not the smallest bumblebee's pubic hairs worth of skill in. So that was a huge turnoff for a lot of people, I imagine, who are used to like really fluid moves and shit, where I come in there like the fucking Tin Man trying to rock and rumble with the youngins, so that already was the wrong choice. Number 2, I didn't show my face. On TikTok, that's probably one of the biggest components. Everyone's face is there, and they're used to seeing that, but so by covering it up, I feel like that only shot myself in the foot. There was no one else on the platform that I could see that had their shit covered. And number 3, and probably the most important now that I think about it, in fact, absolutely the most important, the number 1 thing that I fucked up on, I didn't stick my tongue out. That is the most important thing on TikTok. If you go to anyone's TikTok, any popular person's page, they're sticking their tongue out like they're performing cunnilingus on a ghost. It is all over the place, and it is fucking disturbing because it's like 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds doing these weird lip bites and tongue out kind of shit. It's fucking gross, but you are not going anywhere on TikTok if you're not willing to stick that tongue out. And I wasn't able to do that because that would require me taking off part of the costume, which I wasn't going to part with. Those were the main things that I feel I failed at with Shade. So I noticed that emulating the dances wasn't working, so I tried coming up with my own dances to maybe start a trend in a certain way.
Hard like 88, make a bitch levitate, baby face does bitch, I don't play patty cake, charms in the carrot cake, carrots in the patty face, cop a new coupe, no top, this is Cali way. Coming out hard like 88, make a bitch levitate, baby face does bitch, I don't play patty cake, charms in the carrot cake, carrots.
Pretty exciting stuff. If Dancing with the Stars is in need of a new choreographer on set, I'm available for the right price. So what you saw there, I'll go ahead and break the moves down. You saw some body waves. You saw a little arm action going on there into a jerk, which is footstep moves into the SpongeBob walking on the beach, which was all the rage when I was in middle school. So I really thought the SpongeBob might be my ticket to the big leagues in TikTok. It wasn't, though. But I'll tell you what was. When I realized that wasn't working, I did some other really low effort trends which also didn't work, but the number 1 thing that did work for me in my most viewed TikTok, magic tricks. I fucking called upon the spirit of Chris Angel and used some shit I learned from him on TikTok, and the fucking kids loved that. If any Hollywood celebrities are in need of a magician for a birthday party, I'm available for the right price. So that, while was more successful than the dancing, still wasn't quite what I was looking for. So I gave it one last ooh-rah with the most shameful video I ever made and decided to hang my hat up.
I miss my cocoa-butter kisses. Hope you smile when you listen. Ain't no competition, just competing for attention. Do you like?
And some real pitiful stuff, I know. That was Shade's last ooh-rah on TikTok, and let me tell you, I don't think he's coming out of retirement anytime soon. TikTok, has confirmed, trying this experiment has confirmed everything I felt about TikTok. What a piece of shit. The amount of terrible content I looked through to just emulate these dances, because you click on a song and you see this fucking thousands and thousands, just awful, terrible, disturbing, gross, just shit, derivative shit. It's literally the same exact video and same dance moves repeated across thousands of accounts daily. And even Charlie D'Amelio, in her 25 videos per day, will post the exact same dance, at 8 in the morning, and then post it again at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. The same dance, the same moves, the same song. Like, I don't really get it. And, I just don't think I ever really will. But, hey, we gave it a fucking try with Shade, and I feel I could have done it if only I'd committed harder. That's about it. So yeah. I wasn't always this sex god you see before you, the apex of raw sexual energy. In fact, I actually came into this world a virgin. I was born with virginity. My father, he wasn't a virgin, and yet, embarrassingly, I was. And it stayed that way for 19 years, until in the spring break of my 19th year in this plane of existence, it all changed when my wiener nation landed on the shores of a vagina nation. Consensually, of course. It was an invite for the wiener nation to make landfall. At 2013 years after the death of Christ, I had finally lost my virginity. Like a crab shedding its shell, I molted. But what did I do up until that point? Well, I've already shared with you a little bit of my freshman year of college where I pretended to be a mysterious anime character, but this arc doesn't stop there. I used to think it was cool and unique to be a virgin in college, so I used to wear it like a fucking Boy Scouts badge of honor. I would talk about my virginity to any female that made the mistake of listening. It was one of the first things I'd do. I'd basically fucking shake a hand and say, I'm a virgin. You're shaking a virgin's hand, which is probably the grossest hand you could ever shake, because you know that shit is crusty. If these hands could talk, if this hand could talk, the stories it would tell you. So, but anyway, I thought because everyone else wasn't a virgin in college, at least none of my friends were, I was I was the last one to lose their virginity in my group of friends, I thought it'd make me stand out. I thought it'd be like, wow, that guy's a virgin? Holy shit. I didn't even know this existed in this college anymore. Damn, that's exotic. I gotta get in there. It wasn't the case. In fact, it was just super creepy. But I wouldn't listen to my friends. One of my friends sat me down as like a fucking intervention. He was like, Charlie, look, you gotta stop telling people you're a virgin. It's weird and it's not gonna work. But I didn't believe him. I thought he was working with like the Illuminati, trying to restrict my power. But today I look back on that and I see he was a fucking saint. He knew what I didn't. How creepy that was. I was like a fucking vegan. I wouldn't shut the fuck up about being a virgin. Like in parties and shit, if I'd been drinking, the virginity talk was coming. I was like a parent giving the birds and the bees talk to their children. And God help the poor women that talked to me when I was drunk and talking about virginity, because sometimes I'd talk about it in different accents. Sometimes I'd be an Irish virgin, other times a Russian virgin. I thought it would be something different and cool. And I acted like I was proud of it. I've held on to my virginity this long. Fuck yeah, baby, this one's for Jesus Christ up there. But I wasn't proud of it, and I knew Jesus wasn't proud of my virginity either, nor my attempt to spit the game at the parties by talking about virginity. That was never going to work. But it didn't stop me. You see, this all took place around the time that I got my main lead acting role in the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. I've already shared that story with you. So when I used to meet these women at parties and shit, I would have this 1-2 combo. Hey, I'm in the Hunger Games. And I'm a virgin. That's a fucking irresistible man right there. That right there is a recipe for an Adonis. And let me tell you what, that didn't help very much. But I used to have the Mockingjay trailer on my phone, and I'd show the trailer if they were unfamiliar and just pretend that I was in it, and I wouldn't go back to show them. I'd just be like, oh, there I am. I was quick, you missed it. I must have tried this combination move 100 times. Like a Japanese bladesmith, I'd keep folding it over, smashing it down, making it sharper, better, refining it, until finally it worked one time. I met a girl at a party, we talked, we made out, exchanged numbers, and we're going to get together for a date. Date comes around and you can already guess the conversational topics. Hey, what's your major? Where are you from? Are you a virgin? No? Why not? I am. Bang. Game over. There's no coming back from that kind of shit. I don't know why the fuck I just felt this compulsive desire to constantly talk about it. It's really not like it was a crowning achievement, and not even to me. I constantly wanted to lose my virginity, and yet I'd constantly hype it up like it was the best part of me. It's just wild shit, and it taught me a hard lesson. That's pretty much when I learned the most important lesson. Stop bragging about virginity. This desire to be unique between being an anime character in college, the fucking mysterious anime character, to being a virgin fucking evangelist constantly preaching the good word of virginity. This desire to be unique really fucked me and hindered me very much in my early formative college years. Also, during this time I had a friend that was a female. I very much liked her. We were friends for like a year. The feelings weren't mutual. I was very into her. She had none of those same feelings for me, but it didn't stop me from telling her that I was saving my virginity for her. How noble. They say chivalry's dead, but yeah, I used to tell her that my virginity is going to be hers for the taking. That had to be the last fucking thing on her Christmas list every goddamn year. It must have been the scariest and most alarming thing someone could tell you like that. And it wasn't just like a 1 or 2 time fluke thing where I mentioned that by accident. No, I told her that shit like all the time. If we texted, it'd be like a lullaby for me. You know, I'm going to bed now. Do you want to kiss my virginity to sleep with your pussy lips? No? Alright, just keep in mind I'm a virgin when you go to sleep tonight. Have dreams about my virginity. It's something I mentioned frequently because I really thought, in my fucking delusion, that being a virgin and being unique like that was cool and not weird. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe nowadays things have changed and being a virgin's the coolest goddamn thing in the world next to pissing in your pants. But back then it certainly wasn't, and definitely not my approach of mentioning it all the fucking time. I think you could be the coolest man in the world, but if you keep mentioning the same shit over and over again, it's gonna make you look like a fucking weirdo. Actually, let me hit you with a fun trivia fact for when you play Critical Jeopardy with your family. The girl I'm talking about in this story here is actually the reason I kept the beard. You see, for the Hunger Games role I got, they asked that you grow out your facial hair, which I'd never even considered doing before. I'd always been clean-shaven. I looked like an 8th grader in debate club. But when I grew it out for that role, she said it looked good, so I kept it, and I never looked back. And now if I shaved it, I'm sure I'd look like a bag of assholes collided with another bag of assholes. So yeah, I guess gloating about virginity wasn't all bad. But trust me, it was all bad. If there's any lesson to take away here from my experience for all of you watching, it would be, don't use like a defining characteristic and shove it down people's throats. Don't try and force people into thinking you are special or unique. Just be yourself, and if they view you as special or unique, great. If they don't, who gives a shit? The two that come to mind right away are vegan and atheist, where people constantly mention those two things if they're associated with that. At least that's the big meme on the internet, and I've only seen it in real life a couple of times, so I don't know how prevalent that is. But just going around and saying things like, I'm a vegan, I'm an atheist, I'm a virgin, and constantly bringing those things up and calling attention to it just makes people not want to be around you. It's a pretty toxic social environment when you're just constantly talking about what you think makes you unique and special. That would be kind of the takeaway from this virginity bragging story, I'd say. Yeah, that's about it. See ya. It's been a little while since I told a story, so I figured it was about time that I sit you all down by the campfire and put some fear in your boners. I'm gonna tell you a really recent story, something that I think everyone can take a lesson away from and use it in their everyday lives. So before I really dig into the meat of this, I want to preface this by saying I have not pissed my pants in a very long time. Now that that's off the table, let's get into what the story is about. As you've probably surmised from that intro, it's about pee-peeing in the pants. It's about a time where I flirted with that devil. And this all takes place in the mythical year of 2019 AD on October 4th. It was literally 6 days ago as of recording this video. It was right before going to happy hour, and if you watch my streams at twitch.tv/Moistcr1tikal, you know that the streams are fucking bangers, and that I also pee a lot. I drink a lot of water, which means I'm constantly expelling a lot of urine from my body at jet stream-like pace. I really fucking pressure wash my toilet when I get in there to do that business, so if urinating is considered a game of chess, then I'm the goddamn grandmaster. Now, this was right before going to happy hour. I had just gotten all dressed up and spruced up, ready for action, and we needed to pick my friends up before going to the bars we were going to. But before going, I had the little inkling of a pee-pee coming on. It was still brewing, but it hadn't matured yet. So I figured there really wasn't any point to doing that. The bars weren't far, my friends weren't far. I'd just hold it till I got there and then just do my business out there in public. Just kind of to assert my dominance, like, hey, I'm not afraid to mark a urinal with my seal of approval. I'm not afraid to stamp this with my penis juice. So I just wanted to wait. I didn't see the point in going before heading over. That being said, on the journey to my friend's place, it was still very tame, very manageable, barely even noticed it. Got to my friend's place, didn't notice it. The second they got in my car, it's like they unleashed the piss demon. All of a sudden, all at once, it hit me like a fucking brick. Like a train had left the station, a bullet train, and it was hitting my bladder. There was no putting this genie back in the bottle. I was going to tinkle, it was just a matter of where. In my nice trousers, in a dirty bathroom somewhere on the way, or on the side of the road. The last two options weren't exactly options, because to get to the bar you had to go over this pretty long bridge, and there was no way I was going to be able to hold it through the duration of the bridge, so I'd be just trapped like a prisoner in its cell in the car, just urinating all over my friends, or I'd have to hold it and literally cork my cock, and I'd probably fucking drown internally with urine pouring out of my mouth like I just swallowed a cyanide capsule of urine. It was just a nightmarish situation because I really had to go. So I informed Tiana, who was now driving, and I told my friends, look, I'm sorry to be an inconvenience, but we got to pull over somewhere to go to the bathroom because I'm going to literally ruin our happy hour and turn it into the not so happy hour by coating this entire car in piss. So they understood, but the problem was there really wasn't anywhere to stop. There was no real gas stations on the way to the bridge, so we'd have to go out of our way to find one for me, and my friends didn't really want to do that, so they're trying to encourage me to just go piss somewhere next to a dumpster around some of the dilapidated buildings, because the area on the way to the bar looks like it's been hit by a nuclear missile, but I didn't want to take that chance, because a friend of mine got put on the sex offenders registry for public urination. He got caught while peeing next to a building, or on the side of a building, and I just didn't want to roll those dice at all. I bet if I had just went down to take a piss by a building, a fucking cop would have popped out of a bush in a ghillie suit and said gotcha on me. I didn't want to, risk that at all. I'd drop trow for 1 second, just unzip, and all of a sudden a police car fucking drift in sideways, just sirens blaring, and then take me down just for public urination, and then all of a sudden, bang, I'm a sex offender. I just didn't want to risk that at all. I didn't want to take that chance at all, so that was not an option for me. We were going to go out of our way to one of the gas stations that I knew of, and it wasn't that far out of the way, so it wasn't a huge inconvenience, but I still felt bad. Unfortunately, the gas stations were of no help, and also the gas stations look like something straight out of the Fallout universe as well. But the first gas station we go to, everything looks okay. There's a bathroom there, which is a plus. It's one of the bathrooms that's on the outside, so you need a key to get into it. So all confidently, while I'm like basically grabbing my cock, just trying to keep everything where it needs to be before I explode with urine, I go in there waddling in and I say to the guy, hey, look, I've got to use your shitter. Can I get the key to that bad boy? And he's not all there. He sounds like he's one Xanax bar away from just total overdose and collapse. So I couldn't understand most of the words he said, but he kept mumbling about the hot dog man. I didn't know what that meant. I thought he was making like idle conversation. Maybe there was a hot dog vendor outside that he wanted me to go buy from before he gave me the key. I didn't know, so I asked him, what are you talking about? The hot dog man? Who's a hot dog man? I love hot dogs, even though I fucking hate hot dogs. Just anything to get that fucking key. Felt like it was a mission in a video game that I needed to get that key to complete the quest. But so I'm making this small talk, and his answers make no sense to me. He's like, no bathroom, hot dog man. So then I'm starting to connect these dots in my head. Okay, so the hot dog man, no bathroom. Hot dog man must have gone in there and wreaked havoc. He must have just fucking tore that bitch down and lit it on fire with an explosion from his ass or something. So this bathroom is decommissioned is what you're telling me, right? Bathroom is not working because of hot dog man. He just shakes his head, no. Hot dog man. I felt like I was in a goddamn horror movie, as if like the hot dog man was terrorizing this area like the fucking Slender Man. I didn't know what he was talking about, the hot dog man. All I knew was I was not getting that key from him. So I walked out all disappointed because I knew I wasn't getting the key, and it's all because of this menace, the hot dog man, who I'd never even fucking heard of in fairy tales. So I had to waddle back to the car disappointedly, and even in more of a rush, the sense of urgency was overwhelming. Felt like the entire universe was collapsing inside on me. Also, as a side, there was no hot dog vendor outside. There wasn't even the remnants of what could have been a hot dog vendor at any point in time. So I don't know who the fuck this hot dog man is. But anyway, we go up another maybe mile up the road where I know another gas station is, and it's just as decrepit as this one, and this one was like a goddamn orgy of weirdos. There was one guy who I am 100% sure was on spice, because he was just fucking fumbling around. Luckily, he had hit just enough spice so he wasn't totally nude and dragging his dick on the floor, but he was at that level of spice where he can't really stand up properly, and he has a football that he's throwing against a wall and hitting himself with in the face off the rebound. So that's the kind of place we were at looking for this bathroom, and I knew it was going to be gross, and I'm a bit of a germaphobe, but I was throwing that aside because I needed to be strong, because I didn't want to piss myself, because I hadn't pissed myself in at least a long time. I don't know. I was trying to think of like an exact time I pissed myself, but it's been a long fucking time. I have a pretty clean streak there, and I wasn't about to have that collapse on this night. So we get to this disgusting gas station, and it's another one where the bathroom's on the outside, so I need to go in and get the keys. There's a guy in there playing the lottery, and he's taking a long time scratching it off. That's fine. That's not his fault. He doesn't know that I'm about to explode behind him like an IED of urine. So I'm not mad at him at all. He was none the wiser, not his fault or anything. When he's finally done, I go up to the counter. I say, hey man, can I get the keys to that turbo shitter? I gotta go do some business over there. He's super cool about it, gives me the keys, and I'm on my way. The guy who's throwing the football now fixates his eyes on me, and he wants to get me involved in his game. I can tell because while he couldn't really get the words out properly, he was making motions like, I'm gonna hit you with this spiral real quick, Tom Brady style, and I just... I'm putting my hands up like, please, no, thank you, politely, I've got to use the restroom. Finally get around the corner to where the bathrooms are on the side of the place. There's a man asleep on the curb in front of the bathrooms. I don't know if he was passed out or just really tired. Maybe at one point he was the gate guardian of the bathrooms, but now that he found bath salts, now he just sleeps there. I really don't know. But, I go... not over him because I was already on the side. I go around him, and then I finally put that key into the bathroom, and a sense of elation and jubilation just fills my whole body as I finally turn it, and I open it, and I'm greeted with the most unholy smell this world has ever concocted. It smelled like a fucking hate crime. It was the most repulsive, revolting smell I've ever smelled in my life, and I've smelled some shit. I've smelled some serious shit, but this was something else. This smelled like the hot dog man had gone there, killed somebody, and then took a shit all over the corpse. And it's really weird because the toilet itself was pristine. The toilet was clean enough to drink out of, eat off of. It was a fantastic looking toilet, not a speck of dirt or poopy in sight. But the bathroom itself was tainted with the remnants of 1,000 angry spirits that were all shitting in unison. It's no doubt the work of the hot dog man. There's not a single doubt in my mind. He must just be like a serial bathroom shitter. Just goes around shitting in all the bathrooms, fucking terrorizing them, ruining them for people that gotta pee like me. But I really don't know. Anyway, the smell was so overwhelming. For just a brief moment, I relaxed my penis sphincter, and a little bit of urine dripped onto my boxers. I don't count that as pissing my pants because it was just enough where it only dribbled out, and I was able to once again voluntarily collapse the muscle so it didn't squeak out anymore as I finally approached the toilet, and I finally released the sweet relief into the toilet, and I finally peed. I couldn't breathe. It was fucking hazardous to my health, no doubt, with all the shit particles floating around in the air, but god damn it, I finally peed. So the lesson to take away from here: just when you feel like even like the smallest amount of pee building inside of you, just piss. It's gonna get worse. You're gonna just need to pee. Don't try and hold it. Don't be a hero like I was, because you might find yourself in a similar situation where you dribble on yourself and you visit a really disgusting smelling bathroom that really just ruins your sense of smell for like a good 2 hours. But anyway, that's the story. The lesson to learn: pee when you feel like you have to, even a little bit. Don't try and hold it, because that is just absolutely devastating and leads to this domino effect of unfortunate circumstances and a lot of stress. That's it. See ya. Hello, my friends. Happy afternoon to all of you. Christmas season is upon us, as I'm sure we all know, so please don't forget to leave out a joint and lighter and glass of milk for Santa Claus as he wiggles his fat ass down your chimney to deliver your Fortnite skins this year. Today, to get into the Christmas spirit, I thought I'd share a story. It's a story as old as time itself. I'm sure anyone out there can relate to it. It's a story of when I first tried to suck my own penis. All men have tried it. There's two types of men in this world: men who have tried to suck their own cock, and liars. So obviously I have tried before. And I'm pretty sure I've talked about this on the podcast, but I figured I'd make this entire video dedicated to it because I keep getting emails asking if I suck my own penis, and Twitch chat comments how I suck my own penis. So let's just tell the whole story start to finish the way it was written by Homer in the Odyssey. So, to set the stage, I was probably around like 13 or 14, I'm not exactly sure when, and I was just starting to refine my palate and get a taste for what I liked from pornography and titties and stuff on the internet. And during this time I was very religious, so I was kind of fearful and ashamed of watching porn. I thought anytime I even touched my wiener, I was giving God the middle finger, and he was ashamed of me and sad, and he'd frown, so I didn't do it all that often. But occasionally the mood would strike me right, and I'd Google image search for boobies and butts and vaginis, and, get very excited looking at these things, give it 2 thumbs up, and sometimes even save it to favorites on my folder. But anyway, one particular evening, I was extremely horny. I was Googling boobies left and right. I was like fucking Professor Xavier jacking into Cerebro. I was looking at boobies all over the place. I could see them all over the internet. And man, I was just really fucking feeling myself. I didn't jerk off or anything though, because like I said, I thought jerking off was a bit too far in the eyes of Christianity, and Google Images was tame enough where, you know, I'd be forgiven. So I was looking at these images, and I eventually said, you know what, this is enough. I went into the bathroom. I was going to take my shower. I was still sailing full mast. I was hard as a fucking diamond. And man, I was just so horny. I would have fucked my own ass if I could. But anyway, I'm standing there super erect in front of my shower, and I look at my wiener and I'm like, damn, that's my fucking winky doodle right there. It's going in my mouth. But I was never a flexible guy. I could never throw my legs behind my head and start nibbling on my ball sack or anything. I just was never flexible at any point in my life. But for some reason, I got the idea that I could absolutely accomplish the sucking of my own cock. So I attempted. I get like halfway down, and then I damn near need life alert because I thought I was going to snap my spine in half going for this advanced contortionist move. So I'm just locked in this fucking demonic pose, looking like Schmeagol admiring his precious in Lord of the Rings. And then I start to worry, like, damn, if I die here, the authorities are going to find my body looking like some type of sexual deviant. This is going to be the worst way of going out. I'm not even going to have like a cool going out story. It's just the obituary is going to read, yeah, he died doing what he loved, attempting to blow himself or something like that. He broke himself in half going for a self-blow job. That's not like cool at all. But I still wanted to keep trying. I wasn't deterred. I really thought I could pull it off if I just kept giving it my all. I started to get like anime inspired, like with the power of friendship and by never giving up, resiliency, persistence. And if I get real angry, I'll go Super Saiyan and suck my own dick real quick. So I kept trying. I probably tried for in total maybe like a minute, but it felt like an hour. And it just wasn't happening. I knew it wasn't happening. And then I decided it's time to pee, but I never really adjusted myself. I was still looking at my dick as it was looking at me. We're making eye contact. I was staring down the hole of the one-eyed snake there. And I started to, you know, fire on all cylinders to pee. And it's a little harder to pee with an erection. It takes a little bit longer to travel up the urethra. So I had a little bit of time here. And it wasn't until the pee was about to reach the point of no return where I'm like, damn, I'm about to golden shower myself. My face is looking right down the barrel of this loaded gun. So like a fucking Matrix move or like a superhero move, I start peeing and I dodge it. I lift my head back up and then I just start fountaining it over myself, and I'm safe, I'm dry, I don't get pee in my face or anything, but I almost did. The point I'm making is, yes, I've tried to suck my own dick. It did not go well. God did not bless me with the gift of being able to suck myself off. And I'm sure most men probably can't do it, but there are some select few champions out there that can. And don't let any man tell you they haven't tried. I promise you, nearly every single man on this planet has tried to suck their own penis at one point or another. You don't have to be embarrassed. There's so many of us out there. Come home. Tell your story of sucking your own penis to friends and family to let them know that, yes, you're human. Yes, you've tried. Amen, brother. Take it easy, everyone. See ya. Occasionally during my live streams, people will bring up Miami because I'm in Florida and everyone knows Miami, so they always want to know, have I been there? Do I like Miami? And I made it very clear that I have a very palpable disdain for that city, if you can even call it a city. I call it a scam. I almost just don't even believe in Miami. It's kind of like the fucking Tooth Fairy to me. If the Tooth Fairy was a huge asshole whose only purpose was to bite your nipples off while you were asleep, I really do hate Miami. So let's get really into the meat and semen of why I hate Miami. I've only been one time. It was my junior year of college, and my friends and I went for spring break. We were going to celebrate it there, just go fucking wild. Yeah, Miami Beach party. Oh, tits all over the place. Look at all that ass, and look at all these beers and alcohols. And that was the plan. But we severely underestimated just how expensive everything in Miami is. We knew it was going to be a bit pricier, but not even Jesus Christ himself could have convinced us it'd be as expensive as it turned out to be. There was only one thing in all of Miami we could afford, and that was the hotel, because we all pooled our money together to be able to afford that. Past that, we were left to die. The people in Miami wouldn't piss in your mouth if you were dying of thirst unless you had $1,000 to pay them for it. The prices there are out fucking rageous. We couldn't be left alone. We couldn't buy anything alone. We had to stay in a group and start budgeting our money. Hey man, look, I just ran out of soap and I need to get some at Walgreens. Can you spot me $50 so I can at least get halfway there and I'll cover the other 50? Because you can't afford anything. We couldn't buy a pack of almonds on our own without coming together as a group and budgeting that purchase. It's fucking insane how expensive everything there is. Let's go ahead and start from day one because it hit us immediately when we got there. We planned the trip for 4 days. We stayed all 4 days, but on the first day, we knew we were in for a rude awakening. So day one, we were already, ready to rock and roll, ready for partying. Hey, it's spring break. It's time to go nuts to butts. Let's fucking hit it and shit it. So we got a taxi, which was extremely expensive, got stuck in Miami traffic for an hour, and then made it to this area where all the bars are. I can't even remember what it's called, but there's a bar there that's like the Frankliner, or maybe like the Frankie Doolittle or something. I don't remember, but it's a big bar there, and we paid $20 to get in, which is huge for us because in Tampa, it's free entry if you're over 21, so paying $20 just to get in, that was a real slap to the urethra, but we did it anyway because spring break, baby, shirt over your head and everything, about ready to go wild. And we made the mistake of ordering shots right upon getting there. Shots of Fireball, because in Tampa, a shot of Fireball is $3, and I'll never forget what it is in Miami at the Frankie Muniz Hotel or whatever. $18. $18 for a shot of Fireball. Fireball is the shittiest alcohol you can get in a shot, and it was $18 there. It was insulting. So after taking that shot, needless to say, it was basically like swallowing all of our money at the same time. We were already running out of money just from our first bar visit and first round of drinks. If I wanted to take that shot glass and dunk it into their pool, I'd probably have to pay $10 for their chlorinated pool water with pee all in it. It's unreal, the prices there. But it wasn't all lost upon going to that bar because there was a homeless man, probably not actually homeless, but he dressed like a homeless man, and he was doing magic tricks, and we got a little private magic show from him. And it was all hat magic, so he'd be doing cool shit with his hat. And his grand finale was he pulled out a baggie of cocaine from his hat. It was really fucking cool, and we all gave him $5 because he fucking earned it like a motherfucker. That man should be going on Penn and Teller's Fool Us, or maybe America's Got Talent. It was a great routine, and he's even got a little something to get the crowd energized. Just start throwing coke out. I could see him being a big magician someday. Hopefully he's doing well. We called it a night right after that because it certainly wasn't getting better than that magic show, and it certainly wasn't getting cheaper. So we went back to the hotel and we started just drinking all of the alcohol we brought. That was a lot of fun. Just 5 guys in the hotel room getting absolutely shit-faced because they couldn't afford to elsewhere. And I got extremely drunk, probably the drunkest I've ever been, and I blacked out. And then the next day, we all planned to go to the beach, but I was so incredibly fucked up that I needed to keep having the taxi driver pull over so I could puke. We finally got to the beach, and I still had to keep puking, but apparently all of the areas on the beach don't really have bathrooms. Miami doesn't believe in bathrooms, so I went to a Walgreens. They don't have a bathroom. I went to the next door business that I don't remember. They didn't have a bathroom. I went to the other business next door, which was probably like a cocaine supplier. I don't really know what it was, but it was a dilapidated little business. They didn't have a bathroom, so I ended up just puking on the road. I just figured, why not? I had nowhere else to go, and I'm sure it's pretty commonplace in Miami. I'm sure I'm about the 5th guy that morning to puke on that road. And I was feeling like shit for the rest of the entire day. The beach was underwhelming. It was just like every other beach in Florida. There was nothing super special about it except for some trivia, like Dexter Season 2 was filmed, or the Dexter intro was filmed on that beach. Who gives a fuck? It was so boring, at least right up until a Category 5 hurricane hit Miami that day. It wasn't an actual hurricane, but there was a goddamn monsoon that blew through and completely annihilated us. Apparently there was a fucking news warning that went out, this is going to be the biggest storm we've had in 10 years. And we weren't listening to the news or anything, so we just went to the beach. There wasn't a whole lot of people there, but I can see why now. And it was just this incredibly disastrous storm that hit, with intense wind that was nearly knocking me over and my friends, and this hardest rain ever. It was like we were getting hit by baseballs. It was so miserable. Walked away bruised and bloody, but undeterred. Our spirits were still as high as they could be, because come that night we were ready to try again. Bars were out of the question because we couldn't afford the drinks, so we thought, how about clubs? So we went to a club. I don't remember the name of it. It might have been Platinum or something to that degree. $300 to get into that club. That's excluding drinks. That's not included. $300 just to go in there. Unbelievable. Needless to say, we all didn't have $300 a person to pay to get into this shit-ass club on the side of the fucking road. So we didn't go to that club. I don't know why it was $300. Maybe Jay-Z, Post Malone, Lil Wayne, and Johnny Cash was revived and they were all playing that night. That might justify $300 to go in there. But we didn't do it, so that was another bust. And then we decided, how about a strip club? Miami's famous for their strip clubs, and we thought maybe King of Diamonds would be fun. But this time we wisened up before paying for the extremely expensive ride to the King of Diamonds or anywhere in Miami. We decided to look up how much it is at King of Diamonds. Way too expensive. In a nutshell, way too expensive. Strippers there probably wouldn't even look at you if you were throwing dollars at them. You'd have to be showering hundreds to even get them to look in your direction. So we didn't go to King of Diamonds or any other strip club either. That was day 2. Day 3, we gave up. Day 3, we took a day to just recoup. We hung out in the hotel. We walked around Miami just at like little mom and pop stores, I enjoyed that. That was kind of fun. We saw a little bit of the city. We went to some stores, couldn't afford anything there because you can't afford anything in Miami. That's the main lesson to take away from the experience. But we went to some little diners and stuff and tried a bunch of different foods that I'd never heard of before, which was kind of nice. But that was day 3. Spring break's really kicking in nice. Day 4, we tried one more time. We went to different bars. The prices were a little bit better than at the Frankie show, the Frankie Way, whatever that bar is. The prices were a little bit better. So we all chipped in and bought a pitcher, which was just kind of the most pathetic drinking experience I've ever had because we were all just defeated. Like, you know what, guys? How much money do we have left? 15 quarters? All right, let's just see if we can haggle a pitcher of beer off of this bar here. And miraculously we did get a pitcher, and we all just kind of drank away the spring break because it was bad. I would have had more fun spending spring break in a sensory deprivation tank than in Miami. It was an absolutely miserable experience. The worst spring break I've ever had, and definitely the worst spring break I think a college kid could have. We lost pretty much all of the money we brought with us and had nothing to show for it. But it was kind of a good-looking city. It was kind of pretty, and walking around trying a bunch of different foods was kind of fun. I would never recommend anyone ever go to Miami because you just can't afford to. Unless you're taking out a mortgage, taking out some loans or something to be able to afford anything at all there, you're just not going to be able to have any fun. There's also a huge drug problem there, from what I could tell. I don't really keep up with the Miami news or anything. But walking the beach and shit, there are so many people asking you if you want to buy drugs, which was really uncomfortable. But overall, hated Miami. I would never recommend you spend spring break in Miami. Anywhere else. Literally spring break anywhere else. Go to fucking Antarctica, you'll have more fun. I don't really care where you go, but you will not have fun in Miami. That's the gist of it. That's it. See ya.